Well, hey guys, let's learn how to design another fiery explosion. So in the previous two tutorials, I did this guy and this guy. So now we're going to do a version of this. Basically, the goal here is to explain how to come up with a similar design to this that fits in the same style, but is a different effect. So I'm going to come in here, get my shot all prepped. Come back out to the stage. If you're confused by this first step, don't worry about it. You can watch previous tutorials to figure out how I make a sprite sheet, and you should be good to go. You'll hopefully understand after getting all that other context. But on to the important part. Shape making. Alright, turn on pressure sensitivity here. So there's some cool things going on over here we gotta try to replicate. Number one, you've got this arcing? Sure. This line that comes out like so, that gives it that feeling of being a very aggressive, violent burst. And then maybe there's some other indication of burstiness over here. I'm not too concerned about making it perfect. And something like that. Now these lines don't necessarily connect through the middle. They might, but you can see over here that there's some gaps. So the next step is to kind of create those gaps. Let's see, we got these little shapy shapes. Shapey shape. Ships. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Sure, why not? Alright, and that comes up there. Now, rather than just keep this going like this all the way around, that is exactly what you want to avoid. The reason being, it's just a very simple circle, and that's lame. Simple circles are no bueno. At least not when you're trying to make aggressive, crazy cool shapes. If you're going to do aggressive, crazy cool shapes, something like this is maybe a little more fitting. Like, I don't know, sure, maybe fill that in. Maybe this guy over here does that. And then maybe this over here comes out like that. Yeah, there's not even a shape there in the middle. And that comes up like that. I'm just trying to make randomness. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it look like a human didn't make it. Basically is the goal here. The more variety you can add, the better. Let's see here. Yeah, get something like that going on. Now I don't want it to even be solid all the way around, so maybe that just comes down there and just does something like that. At this point, I'm just going to get all my shapes laid in. And then I can figure out what I did wrong later. Very rarely keep my initial pass, so. Alright. So, first thing I'm noticing, this one has that shape and that shape that I really like. And so I want some of those in my life. So get some of that in your life. That, and like, I don't know. Like maybe, oh my gosh. It's just not my day. Something I've found is that I have good days and I have bad days of art. And you are liable to experience the same thing. So if you're having a bad day, go make a tutorial like me. Just kidding, don't make tutorials, it's probably a bad idea. On a bad day. I should probably follow my own advice. Yeah, okay. So, trying to make violent shapes, as violent as possible. So they're going to kind of zigzag up and out. There seems to be some dogs howling out on the street. Oh, is something going on. Oops, I accidentally jumped frames instead of zooming in. Alright, there we go. Yeah, this there. I like it. I like it. So you'll notice that it either comes to a sharp point or it kind of curves. But not all the curves are sharp. Some of them are sharper than others. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick. So this, I just lassoed this section here. If you hit Q, you can move the center point to the center if snapping is turned on. You can scale it by holding Shift and Alt. It's fancy, right? And the same thing with this segmento right there. Then you can have some real fun with that guy. Rip it. So I don't want perfectly bubbly bubbles on this. That was kind of the last ones, you know, they had this format of like, oh, sweet cartoony bubbles. They're gentle and fluffy. This guy, I'm going for like, you know, some of these like slopey slanted shapes, you know what I'm saying? So it feels kind of like mean, all aggressive and stuff. Let's see there. Yeah, look at that, that one broke up. That. And then this guy. It'd be cool if that guy went over and became that guy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Make it mean. Mean and sharp. Sharp like a Sharpie. Number. So this comes up here. So we're basically just carving away on this thing. Trying to figure out what's going to look best for the style that we're trying to do. Sometimes shapes are, whoa, I skipped frames again. Sometimes shapes are more discovered than they are like planned. I don't know if that makes sense. If you kind of know what you're going for though, and you just keep going for it, eventually you're going to find it. It just may take you a little bit more of a roundabout time to get there. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then go find your shape. You'll see what I mean. Cool. That's cool. Pull that guy out there. Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing coming. Right. Get some wobble. Make it all wobbly. Alright, let's start throwing some orange in there. So the key about where you put the orange, I'm going to put my line thickness way down, is you got to remember there's a heat difference. So with the bright yellows, that's the hot stuff, right? Now as the air travels out, it's going to cool off because the air around it is obviously colder than the center of the explosion, and as it cools, it's going to change color. And in this case, it's going from hot whitish yellow to a cooler orange. Now these spikes, they extend out so quickly and so fiercely that the cold air doesn't have time to cool it off because they're moving too fast. So the spikes are going to stay a hotter color. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Color, temperature. And I don't just mean like cool color and all that, but well, you get the idea. right? So that's kind of coming out of there. I could probably put like a plume on this dude. Yeah, that's like a zigzag. That was like lazy of me. Let me fix that up. There we go. There we go. Get rid of that. Get it out of there. Some parts of this, like this edge here, can stay white. It's kind of cool because it makes it feel like it's kind of like bubbling out. You see how I did it over there? And some of these areas can feel like the heat extended past. You know, it's not a hard, fast rule that every leading edge has to be orange. It's just, you know, the norm, so to speak. And then, yeah. Support this white trail in here. Side trails. Side trails. Right. We'll go up there. There we go. So we've got our basics going on. Now, I like some of these negative shapes. I mean, I like that that one exists, but it's got problems. I like that, but it's got problems. And I like this one, but it's got them. And this one's probably the only one that I like and don't think it has problems. So let's work on that. Let's work on our shapes a little bit here. So the problem with this guy is it doesn't feel like it's traveling very quickly. There's two reasons why this area tells me that it's not a fast-moving explosion. Number one, this sidewall is just a little too wavy. So if something is going really, really quick, it's just going to be a straight line for the most part. Also, this is kind of blunt, and you'd want that to be a little more oval, stretched out that way. So we're going to fix those two things. Let's start with this guy. And then we'll just move into making those not so wavy. Ta-da! It's a better negative shape. It can be even better though if we make it even more pointed at the end. Ta-da! It's even better. Okay, let's go over to this negative shape. So, the thing I don't like about it more than anything is that these two are just sitting similar all around. So I got to decide which one I want thinner. This one's next to the long line, so I'm just gonna thin that guy up there. Make it feel like, you know, he's extending up with that line, and I can even do this, make even more space for it to come up like that. And I just was reminded of one other thing I need to do with all of these shapes. Yeah, that feels better. I like it. Much better. Alright, and let's give the center some density. Over here, the center only has sharp lines coming out of it, so I want to try to do the same over here. Let's see if we can't pull that off. Get this to be sharp. That. And then, yeah, like that. And, yeah. Yeah. Like that. I don't really know why I'm saying yeah. Like that. And then do that. Go. Alright, so now comes that all-important step that I was mentioning, getting my stuff straightened out. I don't always follow a grid straight from the beginning. In fact, oftentimes it's a good idea not to stick too closely to your grid, just keep it there for mental reference. But there's things like little things, you know, that you want to get your stuff matched up to later. Like for example, how these two points don't follow the same line, and they really should. They really should. So now there we go, that goes up like that. This point here, you'd see it should go up like that, so I'm gonna change this guy, because I like that general direction there. Let's see here. So that goes like that. There we are. Okay. Just kind of tidying up some little bits and pieces here. As I make my way around, I'm just checking all these different lines. I feel like I could make this a thicker structure. This. Yeah. Notice that I'm having points correspond to each other where possible. It's always the ideal. Yeah, I'll leave that. I'll leave that. I was thinking it might be cool to do like something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that that had a corresponding point. I don't know. Let's look at it. How does that look? Yeah. Oh, I actually kind of like that. I actually like it a lot. Let's make it work. So, Ooh, that's gonna have to do that because I need that to be yellow. It's interesting and weird challenge working with color palettes sometimes. Let's see, that goes there. Yeah, let's see if that matches up. Yeah, so that line is really good. That matching up there. There she goes. I'll just shave that off. Working in outline mode functions similarly to working with the paint fills turned on. You kind of have to get used to it. It's kind of weird, but you can see things in outline mode that I think are a lot clearer than if you just have the normal view turned on. So I recommend giving it a try, seeing if you can get used to it. If not at first, don't worry about it. You can pretty much do most things you need with the regular mode, but it might be worth your time. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so on to this. Bow out a little bit. I don't know what this is doing. What is this doing? No, it's doing a thing. Sure. Looks great. Looks perfect. Yep. I don't know. I'm just being a little meticulous with these corners. Alright. Get that up in there. That looks fun. That looks good. Let's follow the lines. Good job. Good job. That nice and pointy. Always remember, keep your points pointy. Not necessarily, it doesn't really matter if they're that pointy. Okay, so there we go. So this guy, I think, is in the same style as this guy. This one, it definitely looks different. It's not quite the same. It's probably got more detail to it than this one does. But come out here, we can see them side by side more clearly. Did I do that inside of here? I did. Gotta put that up on the guide there. whoa. I created a duplicate of it and I pasted it on the same layer as this, which means that out here on the stage, if I had moved this around, it would move it with it. But anyway, that's all symbol jargon. Not important to this tutorial. So this is going to be a fun one to animate, because how it's going to dissolve is it's going to come out into these shapes that can kind of burn off in sort of thumbnail clipping fashion, right? Where like nail clippings that just kind of eat away slowly until they're like little tiny bits, and then they disappear. And these are gonna, like, shoot out first, these like spiky spikes, so it'll feel really like sharp, fiery explosiveness basically shooting out of there. And whereas these other ones are going to feel a little more billowy, the billowing flames kind of thing. And then in the next tutorial I'll move on to this guy, which is more of a swirl of fire of death. But yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something.